going to continue where we left off, and now I'm going to be replanting some apple tree seeds. I have germinated these in my fridge at home, and basically I've left them in there a little bit too long, and I'm going to show you now. As you can see, some of them have grown quite big. Right, let's get this out delicately. So I don't think all of them have sprouted. I can definitely see a lot of roots. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, a lot of them have sprouted. So I'm going to be planting all these. The good thing is about these are all of these ones that I've managed to sprout are all wild apple tree seeds. They're not apple tree seeds from store-bought apples. They're actually from wild ones. So the chances of them being a complete different apple is a lot bigger, because like every time you plant an apple tree pip or seed, you're never going to get the same apple, and because these are wild ones as well, is it going to increase the odds even more that it should be some sort of crazy different weird apple. So what I'm going to do is get some pots, get some compost, and I'm going to replant them all. Multi-purpose compost. So let's cut the bag open. There we go. Like so. Nice. Got that sorted. Let's get our gloves on. Right. Alright. So let's look at the size of some of these. They are way overgrown, but that should be perfect now, because look, they're starting to leaf. So as soon as I put this in the ground, it won't take a couple of weeks until this should start growing quite nicely. Right. So I'll grab all those there. Okay. So the reason why I have made loads of them is because the chances are not all of them will grow and develop. I think I've done about 30 or 40 apple trees last year, and I think only 5 are still here, and one of them at the moment is having a real big problem. It's in that bucket there. That's on the other live stream. The roots were infected with white aphids, like white fluffy aphids, so I'm trying to work that out in a moment. But in the meantime, I'm just going to replant all these apple tree seeds in here and see how many of these can survive throughout the year and throughout the winter, and then see what happens to them next year. So let's put these in there, like so. Make a nice big hole here for these. I want that flying off in the wind. There we go. Right, that's the first one. Might be easier to fill these up halfway. Because the trick is what we're going to want to do is plant them so the bit with the leaves on it is facing up in the air, because that's the part that's going to grow up, and the roots in theory you want to be facing them downwards, or you could put them to the side because they are going to actually just fall down into gravity. So that's what we want to try and do, is try and make it so the roots go down and the stem goes up. 3. Christ almighty, what the hell? What's that? Christ. What the hell? Got into these? That was a bit tight. Right, go. Halfway. So I've got loads of these. That one there. Oh, it's unfortunate. Unfortunately, I've made a mistake. This can happen as well, so be careful of manhandling them. I've accidentally tore one apart, and yeah, that isn't good. So just be careful. They are very, very fragile, and you don't want to make the same mistake I just done there. So, oh, that's a shame. There we go. Throw the rubbish over there. And I think I've got some more in here, actually. I think I've got more. Yeah, I have, yeah. So I've got loads more. Alright, let's have a look at these. So, let's have a look. They are growing out of the paper cloth that I put them in. But yeah, look, got a lot more growing. So I've got plenty of them this year. A lot of stuff to trial and error. Alright, let's plant these bad boys as well now. So. I did try growing strawberry seeds as well, and I don't think they have germinated at all. I don't know why, but strawberry seeds are quite hard to germinate, like really hard to germinate. Let's have a look. Yeah, not one of them have germinated. If anything, some of them have just rotted away. I don't know why strawberry seeds are so hard to even start rooting, but yeah, that's a thing that happens. But strange why the apple trees produced quite a lot, but the strawberries didn't. Right, so that's 6 of them. How many more have I got? I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 more seedlings to replant. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pots. Is that a smaller pot? Yeah, put them into smaller pots. Don't want to put them into too big pots yet, because like I said, some of them might not live. So it's better to put them in smaller pots so we know we're guaranteed that they're going to be growing first of all. Right. Let's move this bad boy over like that. Where's this one here? So there we are. There we go. Sort the camera out a bit. Right. Thought I was good. There is one thing I have noticed. These apple seeds have been in there for so long, but this one here hasn't even germinated at all. So the seed hasn't actually like done anything. And anything, I've just squished it and literally just nothing inside of it. There's literally no, it's just obviously just melted in there, unfortunately. And this one here, you're starting to root. So the rest of them are bloody, like, the rest of them are massive, like that long. Well, this one's only just barely started. And that's probably been in the fridge for like months as well. So it's scary how long it takes for these to actually start germinating. So I'm going to have to put that in a little pot there and see how that one plays out. Because that one might be a really, really slow growing apple tree. But from growing so many apple trees, I have learned that the root progression when starting them off as seeds doesn't actually matter, because I have grown a lot of them from seeds, and some of them that have had seeds a lot earlier on haven't always meant that they grow quite strong. So I don't think the whole, if the seeds start rooting quicker, the plant's going to be better. It just seems to be that they root better, but when it comes to them growing, it's totally different. It's like basically like winning a lottery. Like, you don't know what you're going to get. Like, you don't know what apple tree, what seed is going to produce anything. So that's why it's always good to try and do a couple in case some of them don't grow very well. And hopefully you will get one that will end up producing fruit in the end. Right, add these in. Like so. But look at the length of this one. That one's massive. And it's even got to the point where it's like starting to get some hairs at the bottom of it. So that is a really, really, really late like planting of this one. Sometimes if you plant them too late, they can start dying. It starts going yellow and they will end up dying. So it's trying to get them in the ground as soon as you can. There we go. Nice. Right, there we go. So we've used most of all my little pots to replant all my apple seeds in. Like I said, there's a lot of apple seeds. I wasn't expecting that many to basically be able to grow with. So what we'll do now, we'll give them a nice big water. I'm going to reposition it a bit. So we'll put them over here. So let's put these bad boys over here, just so I don't get the ground wet where I'm going to be working. There we go. Nice. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 plants, 13 apple trees altogether that I've grown from seeds, and a lot less than what I did last year. Last year I did, like I said, did about 20 to 30. So there's a lot less, but like I said, I only had about 5 that managed to grow from last year and actually not die. So we'll see what the results are of this one. But I'm going to give it a good water and then leave it to grow. go. Give it a nice water, because this is the first time that they've been planted in some soil and that they've actually had any decent water. There we go, tidy. That's them sorted. Right, so now we're going to go back towards my apple tree that I grew last year, and I had problems with the roots. I've put it in a bucket. I previously put it in a different live stream, but I've put it into a bucket. And as you can see, there is white on there, and that indicates that there was some sort of white fluffy aphids on my roots. So I'm going to have to go through that now, clean the roots right out to basically put them back to basically normal. And this will put the plant in shock, and it will affect the plant. But the plant itself isn't actually growing very well at all as it is. It's very struggling. It's a shame, because this plant was the best one out of all of them last year. And it was probably, basically, if it grew properly this year, I was hoping that next year it could have got big enough to start growing apples, or be able to prune it a lot better to try and make it grow nice in my garden. So let's sort out all this. Oh, great. This is going to be fun. But before that, I will empty out all of the remaining compost into this pot. So into this pot here. So this pot is ready to take on the plant when I'm ready after I clean it. That should be enough for now. It's good. As a start, and that should be enough left in there then to finish off the job. So let's swap these out then. Let's move the camera. Right. That's a better view. Right, I'm gonna have to get bare hands for this one. Right. So, like I said, there's lots of white. So I'm very worried about what I'm gonna find here. But the best thing for me to probably do is to try and not damage a lot of the roots, but try and basically put it down to just bare roots. So let's try and break this up a little bit. It should be nice and soft now, because I've soaked this up for about half an hour to an hour. Right, let's have a look. Oh, I'm so annoyed about this. This tree has so much good potential, and bugs have just really, really affected it. So look at that. Look how much white, you can see them there. That's the first sign of an actual white aphid. You can see it moving as well. Oh, so annoyed. So annoyed. Oh. The root system, as you can see, is still not the best for the size of the plant. I just feel so bad for this plant, man. So annoying. I got a feeling most of them are probably going to be deep inside of this root system. But it's getting there though. I am cleaning it up quite good. I still see a lot of white now. Like a lot of white. What I might need to do because I might need to run it underneath a tap to try and get at it a lot better. Because you can see here at the bottom of it is all just clumping right up. Or what I might do quickly is just get some more water, get some fresh water, and then try it again. Yeah, I think that's best off. Right, I'm just gonna get some fresh water, dump this stuff out. Right, got some fresh water. May not look fresh, but it is. It's just obviously a bit of dirt left in it. Right, let's continue to try and get off as much mud as we can from this root system. And straight away you can see all the white just coming off it. Just look at the bucket now, it's just full of little white pieces in there. So annoying. Yeah, it's like the main root stem itself is just completely full of white bits in there. So annoying. A lot of little stones in there as well for some reason. Don't know why that is. I never put no stones in the soil itself. But I say the root system's now starting to look a lot more cleaner, a lot better. But I'm still not happy with the amount of white in there. So let's try and get rid of some of it more. Oh man. There's a massive clump of it. Right. So what I might do is just abandon the bucket. I'm going to put it on a hose. I'm going to give it a good jet wash and try and see if I can jet off the rest of the white on it. So give me 2 seconds. Alright, just going to hose this down now. Try and get as much of the white, much of the rubbish out of the roots as I can. What's it even sat on? Shower. Try and use a bit of jet. Try and be a bit gentle with it. Hey, that's better. Right, that's where it's a lot better actually. Got no more white in it at all now. It's all completely clean, apart from a little bits actually, little bits at the bottom. I think that's just where obviously it's just caught on the ground. So I might just give it another quick spray. Nice. I'm happy with that now. I am well happy. Got rid of all the white in it. I'm going to show you what it looked like before in the bucket. Look at this. Disgusting. Look at all that white in there. All from white aphids. And you can see like a big one there. You see it right there. Thing is, you can't even see them doing damage either. That's the sad thing. So, right, I'm going to dispose of this water. And then we're going to replant our plant in the pot that I made earlier in the other live stream. All right. So, I've got my plant pot that I made earlier. Where I made it, I've got some nice supports for my apple tree. And I have got my apple tree now with no white pits at the bottom anymore. So what I'm going to do now is transplant it into a new pot with fresh compost. I'm going to water it, support it, make some holes, support it, and then worry because this is probably going to go into shock. And this plant will then stop growing for a couple of weeks until it realizes it's in better soil, in basically better growing conditions, and then hopefully it can start growing again. So, because obviously the root system is not very big anymore, I ain't got to make a coal. So, let's just plant this out like this. Alright, so just dig a nice little hole, like so. Then we're just going to gently put the roots in, like that. This might be a bit difficult because it's going to be quite flimsy, this is. It's very flimsy at the start. So, I'm going to put some soil in. Right, we're just going to leave it like that. Okay, the first thing we're probably going to have to do is secure the tree. Now, with this type of system that I've made, what we're going to be doing is drilling some holes in the bamboo and then putting some string across to be able to keep the tree up straight. And because this is quite a nice strong tree, it should try and keep it up in the air and stop it from basically leaning back and forth and stop the wind from basically pushing it right over. So the first thing we're going to need is my drill and a nice drill bit. Right, let's get me a drill bit. Like so. Right, what we're going to want to do is make the hole sideways. So we'll lift it up to like about there. And I think a bit of support there, so about here and there, will be perfect enough to keep it up. So there, so just use a bit there. Nice. Right, where is my string? There it is. Right. Oh Christ. So you want enough string to go basically in the middle and then back. So about there. There we go. Just wet it down a little bit. It should go in the hole quite nice. There we go. Tidy. Now, what we need to determine is where that is going to be straight in the middle. And then, basically use our string like that. Just get a bit fiddly. So that's probably about halfway. So, I'm happy with that. That's about halfway. Like so. So now, we just repeat it on the other side now, and that should keep it straight enough for us to then put the rest of the soil in and keep it up straight. So, we want it a bit, so if that was like that, a bit. Bit lower, so it comes along there. There we go. Right, let's get my string. Like this. Same again. Make sure it goes to about halfway. That's about perfect. This one's going to be a bit annoying. Oh, come on. There we go. Right, so now just grab the other side. I'm going to do like that. Just tighten her up. It's a lot easier doing the second one, because the first one's a bit of a guessing game, but you can just use the second one to try and straighten it up a bit better. And there you go. Right, nice little setup there. I have made a video on this before on my channel on how to make this type of idea. But now that is secure in a place where the wind shouldn't affect it too much. And if it does start falling over or whatever, I can then add more bamboo to the back or the front to give it more protection from the wind. But because of the root system, like I said, I've only just planted it, it's very weak. Now I can add some more soil on top to basically protect the tree from basically the roots getting all soft and weak. So let's add some more soil. That is a lot better now. Happy with that. I've got no mulch to put on it now, so I'm just going to give it a bit of water. If you guys can think of any good mulch that I could probably use to do this with, because I usually use like wood chippings and stuff or straw. I'm very good, well, very like straw. I like using the straw because it's quite easy, quite cheap. You can buy it from the supermarket. So if you guys use any particular mulch, just let me know. Right, just give it a nice water. Right, so now that I've transplanted it and I had to clean the root system completely out, it's very important now that when it goes into root shock that I provide it with the stuff that it needs to try and help it survive. So I'm going to have to keep it watered regularly to keep it hydrated so it doesn't end up dying from like first basically, because it's going to need all the water and the nutrients it can to try and survive the shock so then it can start growing again. And also, it's also wise not to leave it in complete direct sunshine. I'm going to have to put it somewhere where it is still going to get sunshine, but a little bit more shaded, so it isn't going to be under stress and basically dried right out. But before I am now finished with this, I need to show you something on this plant. Is even though we've cleaned the roots of the problem, we have still got areas where there is still fluff on it. So I'm going to have to get some fluid to try and clean this all up. And what we use is